just to do a quick reset, ladies and gentlemen, this is the BTSI show. I'm your host, Christopher J. Thank you guys for tuning in to the finale of Everyone is a Feminist, Part 3. Lisa, how you doing? Let's see, where's my banner? Yes, here we go. So, one quick second, because there we go. Yeah, I don't know who decided to change this, but okay. Oh, well, just leave it right there. It don't matter. All right, let's get started on this idea of everyone is a feminist part 3. Now, what does it mean to be a feminist? It's a human being who believes that women should have equal rights. By that definition, ladies and gentlemen, I am a feminist by that definition. So, what else did we find out with this information? The major types of feminism is what we went over last week, which is liberal, radical, socialist, Marxist, intersectional, cultural, eco-feminism, and transfeminism. Those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 different types of feminism. So what are we going over today in the finale? We are going to touch on the different waves of feminism. So, I'm ready. I need some more coffee, that's for sure. But we're going to go over that right now. Let's get into the waves of feminism. Now we're going to, with the dates. Now, this one kind of shocked me, but it shouldn't. Let's start with the first wave. Where is my, whatchamacallit? Here we go. The first wave of feminism, ladies and gentlemen, started in the mid-1800s through 1920s. It focused on legal rights, especially women's suffrage and property ownership. Key events include Seneca Falls Convention, which happened in 1848, and the 19th Amendment in 1920. Let's get to some more details, and I'm going to need to look up the Amendment 1920. All right. Excuse me. First wave of feminism, which emerged in the late 19th and 20th century, focused primarily on legal issues, particularly women's suffrage, like I said, the right to vote. The main reason behind the movement was the belief that women deserve equal rights as men, particularly in matters of political participation, education, property rights, and marriage laws. Okay, so that I am first wave feminism. Key motivations behind the first wave of feminism includes, like I said, the suffrage. Women wanted the right to vote, which they saw as essential for securing broader social and legal changes. They believed political power would allow them to influence laws, affect their lives and well-being. Cool. Second, legal and property rights. Women were often legally considered the property of their husband, with no control over their own wages, property, or inheritance. First wave feminists fought for the women's rights to own and inherit property, control their earnings, and have legal recourse in cases of divorce and domestic abuse. All right, so far so good. I don't, as far as women being seen as property, them having their own right to funds, make their own decisions, like to be an adult versus a dependent, I have no problem with that. So we still in the first wave. Almost put my hand up like we champion Roman Reigns. But education. First wave feminists advocated for women's access to higher education and professional careers, which were largely reserved for men at the time. They believe that education was crucial to empowering women and allowing them to participate fully in society. Let's see. Do I have a problem with that? Obviously not. If they want to go educate themselves, go ahead. If they want to go to work and make money, let them go ahead. See, before we get to marital and family reform, I need some people who disagree to think about this, particularly the men. Whoever doesn't agree with this. All the things that, all of the things that women are doing is to benefit the household anyway. So why would you interfere with that? What's that saying? Cut your nose to spite your face, or something like that? Because that's what this is sounding like. They are graduating from being dependents to being adults. I say rock out. And lastly, marital family reform. Women saw greater legal rights within marriage, such as custody of their children and the rights to initiate divorce. The movement also addressed issues like domestic violence and the need for reproductive rights, though these issues were less central at the time compared to latter feminist ways. Meaning, I understand that, and I will agree to that. You should not force anybody to be in a situation that they don't want to be in, especially if domestic violence is at the foundation of that problem. And they want to leave, let them leave. And what they're also highlighting is this wasn't as prevalent back then as it is now, especially as far as initiating the divorces. That's a subject, a entirely different subject in of itself. But one thing is, you want to give people the right to choose. And if that's what they want to choose, if that's what they elect to do, let them do it. Don't force anybody to be in a situation that they don't want to be in. Let them go. And let them live with the outcomes of the decision. And of course, when you talk about the first wave, before we get to the second one, it was led by known figures like, you already know, Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Stanton, and Millie Parkhurst, who pushed for legal equality and expanded opportunities for women, culminating in key victories such as the passage of the 19th Amendment in the United States. Okay, let's look this up. What is the 19th Amendment? The 19th Amendment granted women the right to vote, prohibiting the denial of or abridgment of voting rights based on sex. Ratified in August 18, 1920, after being passed by Congress in 1919, the amendment was the culmination of a decade-long women's suffrage movement that used various methods to protest and advocacy. I'm tripping tonight. While a monumental victory, the 19th Amendment did not immediately guarantee voting access for all women, as many women of color were still disenfranchised by discriminating practices like poll taxes and literacy tests for decades to come. Interesting. But I can't say that's surprising. But that was the first wave. So as of now, Christopher J. is a first wave feminist. Now, let's continue. What's next? The second wave, of course, which happened in the 1960s through the 1980s. Brought into workplace equality, reproductive rights, and challenging gender roles, influenced by the book like the Feminist Mystique and the laws like the Equal Pay Act of 1963. All right. Where we at? Let's get to the second wave. The second wave of feminism, which began in the 1960s and extended into the 1980s, brought in its focus beyond legal rights to address a wide range of social, cultural, and economic equality. It emerged in response to the limitation women continue to face despite the achievement of the first wave. The reason behind the second way center around challenging systematic gender inequalities and addressing deeper social norms and structures that reinforce women's subordination. So, first wave was good. They say it can be better. So, let's see. As far as workplace equality goes, women sought equal opportunity, empowerment, and wages. Although many women have entered the workforce during the World War II, that's a conversation for another day, they face discrimination in hiring, promotions, and pay. Second wave feminists fought for equal pay to equal work, greater career opportunities, and policies that will allow women to balance work and family life, like maternity leave. Makes sense. So, when it comes to workplace equality, like I said, if you have the same resume if we have the same position, you got the same resume as I do, you should get paid the same. Now, and fast forward, is that still the case? Nope. I'm talking about on the mass scale, although I've seen a lot more improvements now. In my direct life, women, in my direct life, well, let me not say that because I got to get more detail regarding that information. I don't want to just throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks. So, as far as the hiring, the promotions, the pay, now we see women work. We see women get promoted, especially in the management level, depending where you work at or industry you work in. Majority of the managers are going to be female because that's what they're looking for. And also, an argument to be made, the reason why you see more women in management is only because you see the pay decrease a lot more, and they're fighting for equal pay. That's going to be a continuous fight, even in my old age. But the fight has to start somewhere, so it can end with the victory. So I get that. Next up, reproductive rights. Control over one's body became a major theme in the second wave. Feminists argued that women should have the right to make a decision about their own reproductive health, including access to contraception and abortions. This led to a significant legal battle, such as 1973, of course, Roe vs. Wade. Now, ladies and gentlemen, regarding abortion, I don't believe in abortion. I see that as murder. And what is murder? A killing that is based off of selfishness, hatred, or revenge. Selfishness, hatred, or revenge is the foundation of a murder. So I don't agree. I don't support abortions. But when it comes to people's right to choose, I can't contradict myself. They earn the right to choose what to do with their body. Like I said, I don't agree with abortion at all because I see that as murder. But the woman should have the right to do whatever she wants with their body. Give everybody the freedom to choose. I agree with that. Now, if they make a bad decision, like I said, there's always outcomes to each decision you make. And sometimes that outcome could transition to a consequence. So you never know. So you gotta let that play out. Next up, sexual liberation and the personal as political. Second wave feminists highlighted how personal experiences such as sexual harassment, domestic violence, and gender roles in marriage and family were not merely individual problems, but rooted in large societal structure. This gave rise to the slogan, "The personal is political," emphasizing that personal experience of oppression were connected to the broader political system. How do I say this? Well, let me start with the. I don't think anybody needs. No one here is going to condone sexual harassment or domestic violence. So let's get that out the way. Like I said in the last topic, I don't agree with abortion. However, I do agree with people's right to choose. And also with people's right to choose, when they make their own decision, I get to judge you based off your decision, obviously internally, sometimes publicly if pushed to. You got to give people the opportunity to make their own decisions, especially if it's a bad one, so that way you can then make your own decision because now you got all the evidence that you need to make a wise decision. So sometimes if they want to engage in certain activities, like whatever you like, sexual liberate, almost say sexual liberation. Let them do that. No one's saying you have to be with that person, but they deserve the right to choose how to conduct themselves. And I say let them do it. Challenging traditional gender roles. Oh yes, this is a big one. Women the second way sought women the second way sought to dismantle the traditional role of wife, mother, and homemaker that were culturally imposed on women. Feminists argue that the right to pursue careers, education, and personal development outside the confines of domesticity. Oh geez, I can't speak today. They also challenge the idea that women should conform to standards of beauty and femininity that serve to limit their autonomy. Here's the thing with that. When it comes to gender roles, I'm okay with dismantling that because, like I said, everything gender roles are subjective. You know why gender roles are subjective? Is because there's some cultures where they have their woman play a certain position, and they have a woman, and in another culture they have a woman do something entirely different. To say that we all Americans need to move as one, we know that's impossible. We know that's impossible. That's not going to happen. Not in a million years. So, what they're saying is, I want to maneuver my life based off of this foundation, and it's different than what society has to say. They want that right, and I agree. And quite frankly, especially if they just get to the general. I'm not gonna say this person married or not. I'm just gonna say I'm agree. Now, if you're married, that's a different subject, but I agree. Do I want to do that now? Right here it again. I'll go get my gun. Sexual violence harassment. I think that's a little bit self-explanatory. Intersectionality and inclusivity. While early second wave feminism was often criticized for focusing predominantly on the issues of middle-class white women, later in the movement, feminists began to emphasize they need to recognize how race, class, and sexuality intersects with gender. The growing awareness led to more inclusive approach to women's liberation. One second. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna put that right there. Okay, sorry about that. So, predominant issues in middle. Yeah, this is pretty much where women of color got inducted into the second wave. That's pretty much what that pretty much means, because like I said, who do they focus on? Middle class white women. Now, who are they focused on? the other class, women of color. Not too many women of color in uppity class back then, especially around this time. So I totally get that. So based off of what I read here, it almost got a little shaky. But now we can say I'm a second wave feminist. So, which the first waves are already included. All right. Now I'm gonna find this to be a little bit difficult as we go further. Well, let's see. Excuse me. From the 1990s to the 2010s, third wave. Oops. That was the second wave feminism, ladies and gentlemen. My bad. I got these banners here. I'm not even using them. But so yeah, that was the second wave feminism, ladies and gentlemen. Workplace equality, reproductive rights, sexual liberation, challenging traditional gender roles, sexual violence and harassment. Like I said, that's self-explanatory without going there, and intersectionality and inclusivity. That's the second wave. So pretty much, that's not to say the first wave didn't get it right. They just said we want to make it better. We're trying to make it much better than what it was. So this is where the second wave come into play. Now, do I think they called themselves a second wave feminism? No, I don't think that. I think that terminology was coined by the U.S. history, whatever. That's just was not. I don't believe that was a coined phrase back then, but I could be wrong. So now let's get to the third wave feminism. Holy. Doing the Lord's work here. Third wave, embrace individuality. I knew that was individuality. I cannot talk to that. Embrace individuality, sex positivity, and intersectionality. Critique earlier ways for centering white/middle class women. Okay, that's what the last wave just did. So, what did you do? Anything different? I'm not sure, but let's see. All right. Third wave of feminism. Ouch, I heard it. Which began, in the 1990s and continued in the 2000s, was a reaction to the perceived limitation of the second wave. While second wave feminism focused largely on issues like workplace discrimination, reproductive rights, and dismantling traditional gender roles, the third wave feminists sought to address more diverse and nuanced aspects of identity, gender, and power. The reasoning behind the waves center on embracing individual, inclusivity, and intersectionality while changing rigid definitions of gender, sexuality, and feminism. All right, Ski Mask, what's good? How you feeling? Shout out to Ski Mask on the vertical stream. Before we go down this road, let me see on IG. Salute to Find One. Now let's get into this. All right. Intersectionality and diversity. Let's see. Third wave feminists emphasize the experience of women cannot be understood without considering other aspects of identity such as race, class, sexual orientation, ethnicity, and religion. This concept of intersectionality, coined by Kimberly Crenshaw in the late 1980s, highlighted how different systems of oppression, such as sexism, racism, and classism, intersected and shaped the experience of women differently, especially women of color, LGBTQ plus women, and working class women. The third wave feminism aimed to be more inclusive, acknowledging that women is not a monolithic category. It's not. However, we won't go there. Let's keep it going because I don't want to checkmate anybody. What we got? Challenging essentialism, while second wave feminism spoke of women's experience in a somewhat universal way, the third wave feminists rejected the idea that there is a single definition of womanhood of the universe of female experience. Ladies and gentlemen, right there, that's why I get off the train. That right there, I'm getting off the train. Yeah. I don't. Let me keep reading. They question the notion that femininity or masculinity is biological, determined, or fixed, prompting the idea that the gender is fluid and socially constructed. This challenge essentials views of gender, opening more room for diverse expression of identity. Yeah, that's where I get off the. I'm definitely getting off the train on that one. Um, it being a social construct. Not. I think your ethnicity is more so of a social construct. However, with this, um, yeah, I don't know where to begin. Outside of it can't be a social construct because if men have XY chromosome and women have XX chromosome, that's not a social construct. That's just biology. So in the facility, there needs to be a name or umbrella term for men and for women. This is the challenging essentialism is where I get off the train. Reclaiming feminine identity and sexuality. Third wave feminists often sought to reclaim aspects of femininity and sexuality. We'll talk about that later. That have been devalued or criticized by earlier feminists. For instance, they embrace fashion, makeup, expression, and embracing traditional femininity or regarding that. Um, with that, I don't. There's something about this. First of all, I agree with everything it said. When they said reclaiming your femininity, that bothers me to a degree because how can you reclaim something you never lost? But that's too deep. We don't have to go into that. Media representation, pop culture, pretty much that's self-explanatory. Go ahead, put them in a commercial here, there, put a movie TV show here and there, and go about your separate ways. That's all that, for the most part, is. Focus on individuals' choice and empowerment. I have no problem with that. Zero problem with that. Let's keep going because I'm starting to lose it. Focus on individuals' choices and empowerment. Oh yeah. Unlike the second way, which focused on collective actions and societal change, the third way placed a strong emphasis on individuals' empowerment and personal choices. I like this. Feminists in the movement often argue that women should be able to make their own choices. I agree. Whether about work, family, sexuality, or appearance, without being judged as either betraying or adhering to feminist pressure. Here's my thing on this. One sec, y'all. About the judging part, you are never going to walk through this life and not be judged for whatever decision you decide to partake. That in itself don't happen. I was talking to my friend about this the other day about being absolved from consequences, or if not consequences, you absolve yourself from any blowback for the decision you make. And it's like, no, you're always going to get something. Just take your licks and keep it pushing. What else? Global feminism also became more global, recognized the issue facing women very across different regions of the world. Activists work to be attention to issues like human trafficking, female gender. Yikes, I'm not going there. But yeah, I agree with that. Critique of second wave feminism. Third wave feminists critique the second. I don't get these critiques. Third wave feminists critique the second wave for being too focused on the experience and issues of middle class white women. It's like the next one's going to critique the previous one. That's what this looked like. All right, we could end that is third wave feminism. I definitely can't agree with if you had to say you either take all of it as far as the ways go, you take all of it, you take none of it. I can't identify as a third wave feminist because for the simple fact that I believe women, that is specific. Those are lines you don't want to blur. Hold on, let me stay focused real quick because I almost yeah. Let me stay focused because I'm about to drift off. I can feel it right now. Then this coffee, I actually need to get some more coffee. Lastly, fourth wave present, and I'll say this: I did not know we was in the fourth wave. I'm not gonna hold you guys. I didn't find that out to maybe a year ago, a year and a half ago, maybe. But digital activism, Me Too Me Too movement, online movements, trans inclusivity, and global focus on equality over mere equality, equity over mere equality, emphasizes the diverse voices. Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost some energy when you said Me Too movement. Now, here's the thing about the Me Too movement before anybody gets this misconstrued. Great concept, poorly executed. Meaning, there was it. Let's just say there was a lot of bad apples. I'm not talking about what made the public news. I'm talking about the masses, where they say Me Too because of a bad day. I forgot what homeboy's name, but that happened to him. But let's get to what this is. We're almost done. Fourth wave feminism, which began in around 2012. Okay, there you go. It continues into the present. It's characterized by its focusing on technology, social media activism, addressing contemporary forms of gender inequality. All right. Let's just go and skip to the major social media and digital activism. One of the defining features of the fourth wave is its use of social media as a primary tool for activism and raising awareness. I don't know if primary tool is a good idea, but okay, that's cool. The internet allows feminists to organize movements, spread information quickly, and connect across abroad. Movements like Me Too and Time's Up. Oh, and Yes All Women. Hashtag Yes All Women. Y'all heard of that? Yes All Women? I ain't never heard of that. Have y'all? No, cool. Have gained massive global attention through platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, exposing the prevalence of sexual harassment, assault, and gender-biased violence. Okay, I don't have a problem. I'm social media stage, all good. Sexual harassment, assault, self-explanatory. A central focus of the fourth wave is tackling issues of sexual violence, harassment, and consent. The Me Too movement, which began in 2006, no comment, but gained international momentum in 2017, has been pivotal in highlighting the widespread nature of sexual harassment and assault in various industries, like Hollywood, corporate office, etc., etc. Yes, there are some creeps out there that needs to be called out. No one's not saying that. No one's not saying don't call out the pervs. Call them out. So I won't speak to the other side. I'm just going to agree with the idea that women should have a voice, especially when a type of injustice goes out against them. So I give them that. More intersectionality, inclusivity. I think this is talking about LGBT and more women of color. Yep. Body positivity and reproductive rights. Fight for body autonomy and reproductive rights, but with a renewed focus on body positivity, fat acceptance, and dismantling beauty standards. They challenge the harmful media portrayal of women's and fights against societal pressure and confronts unrealistic beauty ideas. Let me talk to the big women. When it comes to fat positivity or whatever, I can say this. I do like a little bit more meat on the bone. Pause. So I don't have a problem with it. More for me, it's the way I see it. However, I do want to say this. Your health comes first. Just because you're big, that doesn't mean you're unhealthy neither. But your health does come first, regardless of what size you are. I'll just throw that out there. What else? Challenging misogyny and gender norms are self-explanatory. Gender identity, a significant development in the fourth way is focusing on gender identity and the illusion of transgender and non-binary people in feminist disclosure. Fourth way feminists advocate for transgenders' rights and work to ensure that the feminist movement is inclusive to people of all gender equality. Okay. That's self-explanatory as well, like we stated before. As long as you have the same foundation or same calling, you could be part of the team. That's all they're saying. Gender page gap, that's still excessively long, but that gap is closing. And global feminism, like the third way, fourth feminism emphasizes the importance of global feminism. Feminists focus on issues like human trafficking. Okay, they got people for that. So that's good. That is good. So, with that being stated, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a first wave feminist. I'm a second wave feminist. I'm not a third wave feminist, because if I just like take all of it or take none of it, I just can't take. There's some things about third wave feminists I can't take. Regarding fourth wave, I thought I saw a key moment where I said, hell no. Well, I'll find it for the fourth one. But right now, I'm going to say me being part of the fourth wave of feminism, I'm going to say this. Previously, I would have said no. I'm going to say yes now. And the only reason I don't identify as a third wave feminist is because the whole gender identity, that's not gonna sit well with me, because there's something that needs to be concrete and clear as day. You don't want to go with those lines. But other than that, people, we made it. Whew, that took a lot. That took a whole lot out of me. But we made it. We went through the first 4 waves. Last week we did the major types of feminism, and of course, first week we have to break down the definition of the word feminism, just to prove that maybe, if not everybody, most people are feminists. So, I would say regarding that, mission accomplished. Mission accomplished, ladies and gentlemen. Now you get to ask yourself, is everybody around you a feminist? Because depending on what your beliefs are, I'll keep that offline because I'm starting to drift out. But thank you guys for tuning in to all 3 parts of Everyone's a Feminist. I greatly appreciate it.